No breaks, no filters. This is Life is Fast. I'm your host, Steve. Let's dive right in. Tyler's out of a small town in New Jersey. He's one of my neighbors and one of my best friends. How you doing, Tyler?
Man, I can't complain right now in this winter snow right now. Can't ride. All I can do is work and save up some money for this upcoming season. That's basically where I'm at right now, dude.
Yeah, you could be down in Florida right now getting prepared for, Deckers training. Florida, sunshine, nice weather. It's not, 6 inches of snow like it is here right now. Be a heck of a lot
Yeah,
nicer.
that would be nice, but when you got to rebuild your machine and, it's you work a full-time job, need insurance to race, you need a lot more things than just ride an ATV and live life. So, I make the most out of it and it would be nice to go down there in Florida. We have a couple nice days here.
Yeah.
Really don't have a track besides Nick Janusa's to ride, like a facility around
Mhm.
here, which came across about 3 years ago, um, which is pretty cool. It's in Jackson.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
and that's what really helped me elevate with riding in the past couple of years to get to pro. And because I literally had nowhere to ride. All the places I grew up when I was younger on 250s and 90s, in Acco and Chatsworth down the beach.
Gotcha.
They all
So
closed away.
let's backtrack a little bit. How exactly did you get started? And just give us some background on you yourself. I know you do work a full-time job, like most of us. But just give me some background. How did you actually start? I don't think we've really ever gotten into that. I mean, I know I met you several years ago, and we've been friends ever since. But I don't think I really ever asked you how you actually got started into racing or riding, even in general.
Yeah. So it all started like my mom and dad threw me on Power Wheels ATV and uh out of Toys R Us. That's where it started in the aisles, man. You used to be able to ride them things. My mom would throw me on there and
Yes,
she told
sir.
me I never hit anything. I hopped on that thing and dad said, "Oh yeah, we're putting them on one of these things." So I always grew up on a quad, riding trails, go to the mountains, travel 4 hours with family and friends. Um hill climbs in Trevorton. It's all over YouTube. Just
Oh,
freaking
okay.
hill
Yeah.
climbs, dude. Um, but I was mostly just generic sports, soccer, basketball, pickleball, football, growing up and stuff like that. I really didn't get to hit the track until later in my time. My dad got me my first 450. I saved up my birthday money and everything else I could, my allowance, and cutting grass then before I could get a job at 14, 15, 16. And I got my first 450. It was my sophomore year in high school, and he sent me a text and said, "Hey, do you want to do it? Do you want to start riding?" And I said, I got the picture, and I was like, man, going from a 250 I had growing up, I guess it's time I turned 17. And I was like, all right, I'll put all my money and put my eggs in the basket, and let's try it. Um,
Nice.
so then I finally brought home a bike. Um, I didn't really know much about the sport, like performance wise, beside the stock machine, throw wheels, tires on it, handlebars. And
Mhm.
like I said, all the tracks closed by the time I got the big bike. So then I started looking for local series, like a few hours away, found a couple series to run. Started off in C class. Uh, I naturally like just started spanking them, like just started ripping. Like, I don't know, like my dad took me out of that and it was like, all right, if you're beating these guys, don't even worry about B class, go straight to A. If you're gonna let's just put you in there and see how you do in these local series. Not many national kids are at these series and stuff like that, but a few do come
Mhm.
out, and it's cool to see if they come out and stuff like that. And I remember I actually raced against a guy at a local series at Evansville. It was Chris Borch, a GNC rider I race now in the pro class. And I'll never forget that because I didn't know him back then. And back then he was I want to say he was a champion on a Suzuki back at that time. It was, I forget what year it was, 2019, maybe one of them years, but he's still ripping now. Um, so I ended up winning an A class series championship in 2021. And then, it was on a stock machine. I asked my dad to go to nationals and stuff like that, my parents, and with, soccer, basketball, everything going on in high school, they told me, hey, like, you can't get soccer, basketball, and all this other stuff back. You can always ride a quad later, which they were right.
True. True.
So I put that to a side and I just started riding, do these local series, and not take it like to the next level like I thought I could, and I waited. So then I went through high school, did all my sports, was on the soccer field, basketball, all that stuff, and then I was about to go start riding, and then I came across an opportunity to dunk for the 76ers basketball team, do halftime shows, something I never thought about doing.
Nice.
And I ended up doing that for 4 years. So my ATV career got pushed back again because it was something I didn't even tell my parents right away. I was so mind blown this opportunity. And I took the opportunity and I put all my effort into basketball and training and traveling with the Sixers and doing dunk shows, all the halftime shows, the 76ers Wells Fargo Stadium.
Really?
Something, yeah, it's just something to look back. It was cool, like, being a professional athlete in a different sport and now into the ATV and adapting ways now that help me in the Sixers, communicating with people, learning knowledge, getting sponsors, like all that stuff to transition down to this, what I do to help me do my program now. Um, so then, about 2 years ago, uh, it was 2023, I want to say it was, or 22 at High Point. And, I went there and did my first national, and, I bought a race quad off someone ready to go. It wasn't nothing crazy. It was a Honda TRX. I didn't want to take my stock machine there. I took it there before and this wasn't fast enough, dude. Like I got absolutely demolished off the whole shot. Like I literally at a national level, that bike was nowhere ready. It was just a
Those
power
race
commander and a pipe.
nationals are just that's a whole nother level. That's in our first podcast we kind of touched on that. The kids that ride nationals, whether it's the littles all the way to the pros, until you've been to one of those races in person, it's insane. The level
Yeah.
of skillmanship, I guess, if you will, is
Yeah.
out of this world. I know the very first race that I went to, for the nationals, it was Pleasure Valley, and that was actually the race that Joel, excuse me, that Joel Hedrick actually had a really bad start for whatever reason. I forget what happened.
Oh no, it was with Jeffrey Rastrelli and him
Yeah.
on
And I watched him by the end of that race I think it was 10 seconds ahead of everybody by the time it was finished. And I was just blown away. It's a whole nother perspective when you're there watching it
Oh
rather than
yeah.
watching it, on TV, or on a Facebook Live or something. I mean, even with the dirt bikes, you got, Eli Tomac, Jason Anderson, all those guys, when you go to a track like Budds Creek, man, the first time I
Yeah.
stepped on Budds Creek, I was just blown away. I mean, just the elevation changes, you don't get the
100%.
real picture while you're watching TV until you step onto a track like Budds Creek. It was
Yeah.
mind blowing. I couldn't believe it. And then to watch you guys running it on quads was just I was in my element and it was so cool. And that was I think one of those turning points for me where I knew I wasn't going to turn around and look back. I knew I wanted to get to more of these national rounds for sure
Oh
because
yeah.
our D6 Ultimate Quad Series tracks are great. They're great tracks, but you step it up a notch when you get to these national level tracks, and Budds Creek is one of those that, you got to have the stamina because the elevation changes on that track are gnarly.
Yeah.
You're down in a gully and then you're soaring through the air, 4 stories up. Like it's a crazy change. And, I kind of feel it's like that at Pleasure Valley too, a little bit. You go through the middle of the track, and, but that track itself is, lengthy, just like Bud's is, so
Oh
it's
yeah.
a whole different ball game. You know what I mean? Like you could be A class and you can be, smoking the competition in a local series, like I watched you do for a few
Yeah.
years. But then when you step up again, I've
Yeah.
watched you. You're not just leading the pack now. You're fighting
Yeah.
it.
No, I'm
You're
fighting to
looking
get
to
up there.
building and progressing.
Yeah, that was big switch too from doing the local series to my dad saying like You need a faster bike to be able to compete and stuff. It's like, are we in, are we
Mhm.
out? And I said at that point, I'm like, nah, back at it. We were talking about, you came out, started D6, started taking videos and pictures and stuff for us and advertising the D6. You became the photographer, which is awesome,
Yeah.
and promoting our sport, which is great. And so I did M2 series, and then I did the Pro Am Pro Sport, and I was, battling with them dudes, and eventually this year I made my debut in pro.
Mhm.
And this pro class was no joke. Um, like you said, going down to Florida and training would be nice to be able to get a step ahead with them dudes, how they're getting a step ahead of us. And
Mhm.
it makes it that much harder though in the beginning. But as the season goes on, you start getting back to it. Like I get to
Yeah.
that speed again right away. It might be a struggle in the first couple races, which is fine, you know. But then I know like, hey, once we get back into it, it's go time, and we're back in a routine. We're working. We're going to races on the weekends. We're leaving Friday.
Yeah.
We're back at it, you know.
Yeah.
So as long as you get, it's a mental thing, man. It's big mental in this sport. You can't beat yourself up before it starts.
I,
Everyone
I was gonna
everyone
say,
is different with training wise. You could
yeah,
train 100 hours, or you could train 50 hours, and you could be just as good as someone. Or
yeah,
it's all about work ethic, man. Like, and
yeah.
being determined. And you know I struggled a lot this year with in the beginning switching from my Honda and my hybrid to my Yamaha with my
Mhm.
setup,
Yeah.
which is fine. It's part of the process.
Yeah.
And stepping to the pro class, which is even double harder, and then switching to a new bike, I knew
Yeah.
was gonna be an adventure for me.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
it's all good. Every race I look back to now, since I started, I beat myself every time. I didn't do worse, which was great, but
Mhm.
it's hard to tell for results when you're versing people like Joel, Bryce, Chad and all these dudes, Nick, just like all these top dudes.
Yeah.
Everyone is fast, and everyone, they don't skip a beat. You mess up
Even
one
on their
time,
worst day, they're still lightning fast. It's
oh,
crazy.
dude,
You know?
it's it's definitely people do not understand how fast that this class goes on a bike, man.
Yeah.
And I
Now,
wish we could get more knowledge and like video footage support, live feeds to show what
mhm.
we do on these machines, man.
Yeah. So I want to take a step back to the mental aspect. Now, I feel privileged to have known you as a newbie, so to speak, and just running local stuff to you just ran your first year of being an AMA pro. Now, for me, it's exhilarating. It's awesome. I'm proud of you. It's awesome to watch. It's crazy that I can say I personally am friends with a pro quad racer. That it's mind blowing to me.
Yeah, man.
Now, as the racer, what has gone through your head? How, like, the first time you stepped foot onto the track as a pro this past season, what went through your head?
Man, as soon as I got to nationals, that was my first goal, was to be that waiting for that moment to be on the gate with these dudes and hit my first qualifier. It was
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie, like dude, it was like the first time like on a quad where I like tensed up a little bit. Like my first couple laps on my qualifier, dude, I was like, dude, I'm really fucking, I'm out here now. Like
Yeah.
like I worked my butt off to get up here, and it's going to be hard to show these dudes a battle with these top 10 dudes right away, but I deserve to be out here and perform. And I'll never forget, my dad's like, dude, he's like, dude, just ride right now. Like, don't
Yeah.
focus right now, just ride. And I was like, you're right.
Yeah.
And it took me my first whole qualifier. I just was tensed up and had to go back to the trailer, honestly, and just like regroup. And then second qualifier I went out, and it was like, it was good. I wasn't tensed up, and I just rode. Like, and I felt good after that, dude. But it was the first, not even the whole shot, not even the first race, was the qualifier. Like, once I got in that gate drop, it's over. Like, I'm so locked in. When the gate drops, I love that. I'm in for every whole shot. Like,
Yeah, you are.
that's why I live. I live for the whole shots. Like
Mhm.
that's my major goal this year is since I got my whole shots dialed in from my Yamaha mid year to the end, I was on fire going to different series like quad cross and I did a couple of D6 and other events, dude. I was just getting them whole shot awards, and that's my goal this year. I want to get up front, get a couple whole shot awards in the nationals, and stay in that top 10. That's my major
Yeah.
goal this year.
And
Um,
and you're riding GNCC Pro now too, aren't you? You took on two huge series at the same on the same during the same season to jump to pro class. You know, give us some more thoughts on your GNCC side of your now pro career that it has started.
yeah. So ATV MX motocross ended, and GNC takes a midway break in the summer. Um, so that they were coming back for their last four rounds, and I made a last minute decision and got a bike ready for it, and I made my debut out in I think it was West Virginia. It was, and
Okay.
I tell you what, it felt like I want to say I could tell you like it felt like home, honestly, when I was out there because that's all I grew up riding was trails, no jumps, just trail riding and being inches from trees and going up hill climbs, muddy, like almost feeling about to fall off the quad. It was awesome, dude. And the atmosphere there, GNCC is really great people. Everyone's into it, the audience, the crowd, us pro riders, getting recognition out there, they got the Supercross stadium thing, getting called out. It makes you when you get to this level, not everyone makes it to the pro level, and it makes you feel like, you accomplished on, people see you out there and stuff, and especially little kids, man, they look up to you, and that's what my main thing is at the track, man. I grew up like I just want to see someone younger than me be where I'm at, and show them that it's possible. You don't have to ride your whole life, like compete wise, meaning, like I said, I trail ride and stuff my whole life, but competing wise, I'm in a 4 year span, like competitive wise, full. And like we were at Jack's, man, for example. I'll never forget, came out to a couple events and we had the kids on 90s. I had about 20 to 30 90s kids, at the
Oh,
track. I was ding dong ditching your camper with them.
yes, yes, yes. And I'm busy working. I'm trying to edit photos, and you're keep ding dong ditching me. And I was like, what
you
the heck
know,
is going on? And then finally, I see a whole train of just little kids on pit quads being led around the friggin' parking lot by you. Oh my god, that was
yeah, that's what makes my day at the track, dude. It's not always about winning. Like it's
yeah,
about making it a great weekend, dude. Like this sport, we do not like even us pro riders, like we don't go away with a weekend if even if when we win, we don't walk away and make crazy money, dude. We go away,
yeah,
we'd be lucky if I get a win weekend and like I break even and make a couple bucks, We do it
yeah.
for the love of the sport and all these parents and kids that dedicated come out, build their kids bikes, even the younger kids, it's great. Like their parents sacrifice work and getting their kids to the track, you know
Mhm.
like I said, seeing them kids there, we were having a great time, dude. We were out there for like an hour riding around all together. And that's
Oh
what
yeah.
kids look back to, like, yo, like we had a great time at the track. Even if a kid broke down that day and had a bad day, they remember like, yo, Tyler, we had a whole bunch of kids riding around, like,
Yep,
and parents see that, they had their cameras out, they're taking videos, like that's memories right there, dude. Like I'll
for
never
sure.
forget that stuff.
Yeah.
And
Well, it goes back to, the first episode of my podcast, with Michelle and Rob of D6. It's not just a race. It's a family, it's a community. And that's what it's really,
yeah.
it's about making those memories. You know what I mean? And it's been a great thing to witness. I mean, I've seen some of these kids and some of you pros, I've seen you take some really bad, falls and, off of jumps and that stuff. But, you know, one thing I remember is I forget what track it was, but I watched, just a little tyke, out there ripping, and he went off just a small jump or something. I forget exactly what happened, but he completely just boom face planted, and parents start running, just to, not that he's necessarily hurt, but trying to make sure he's up and go before any of these guys could get on the track. That little kid, I think he was 4 or 5. He was the youngest. He
Yeah.
was up on the bike and gone before anybody could get even within a few steps of this kid.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. It takes, a set of cojones, if you will, to do what you guys do. I mean, when you're young, you know, you have no fears. You don't have to worry about
Yeah.
going to work in the morning. I mean, you miss a day of school, you don't care. You're a kid, you know? Yeah,
Right.
if you gradually get older, those fears can start, coming into play when you're riding. And I've seen, some of you guys, where you'll have, whether it's a bad gate drop or, you hit a jump wrong or whatever. And I personally have seen your mental switch, you know, go the opposite direction and your riding style changes because you get in your head mentally like, oh man, like I really just screwed that up. Like I gotta get better, I gotta go faster, you know? And I've seen you guys at the same time as you clicking into that angry, upset, I gotta go mode.
Yeah.
After seconds, you click it back and you're like, all right, cool. I just gotta reset mentally, go get back in my zone and get back into the race. And I watch everybody do that, whether it's a little kid on a 50 to you guys in the pros running a national level. It's something. It takes something special, put it that way,
Yeah. Like,
you know.
yeah, I mean, like I always say, man, smooth is fast, fast is smooth,
Mhm.
Like you can you can make 4 errors and cost you a race, or you can make one and it could put you in the race farther. So,
Yeah.
um, safety is a big thing in this sport,
Hmm.
Um, you just gotta know when your chances to take somewhere or not. And when you get to that level and you're racing other competitors, both riders know when you got someone or not, if that makes sense. Like when you
Yeah.
got someone, you only know if someone doesn't like itch back, then you're putting your
Hmm.
both stuff in a 50-50 situation that hopefully both riders don't think like that, because the next turn you can get someone back a different way, take a different
Yeah.
turn, take a different line. There's more than just banging into someone, which
Yeah. It's knowing your limit.
yeah, knowing your limit, right?
Hmm.
And it's a big thing on the whole shot, man. That's a big mental thing. And then, like, just getting out in front, being out there first, a lot of people struggle with that, and it's hard. It's a big thing, but once you get that dialed, the race gets better for you, because
Yeah.
then you don't have to worry about rushing back. You don't have to worry about
Hmm.
how many guys you have to get through before the first person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but like going to that, you said like a D6 tracks compared to the national tracks. Like me, Wesley, Adam, pro riders battling at D6, man. It's
Mhm.
like we can go so fast, so limit there,
Yeah.
and but you only can push it so fast at them type of tracks, and we're all
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
close when we battle. Like we
Yeah.
got to make mistakes for us to pass, and you've seen it with all of us.
Yep.
Whether we get in a bind and we crash, or we get by someone back and forth, and it's a tight race,
Or you're
and
leading west and then he just walks by you like you're sitting still, Tyler.
yeah, I mean it happens. I probably pull 90% of the whole shots there, so it's all right.
You did. And
I,
then, usually he just,
but it's all right. It's all love. It's all love, man.
yeah,
Everyone wants that whole shot. Everyone wants
yeah,
that
for
whole shot.
sure.
And but like going to the national tracks, man, them tracks are 4 times rougher, man. You don't understand. We could be battling there, and you get to the fucking nationals, and it's just like, dude, like you can't even see in the videos how deep these ruts are and what we're going
Oh,
through.
yeah.
Like breaking bumps, like it doesn't make no sense. Like it,
Orange Creek
and
again. Breaking
yeah,
bumps
yeah,
going down
literally
that
just
one.
going down
Oh,
80
my
foot
God.
jump with breaking bumps the size of freaking 5
Boulder.
foot, dude. Like there's literally potholes down hills, like potholes. Like how does that
Yeah.
form? You
It's
know?
crazy. It's crazy.
And I don't know. And us pro riders getting out there midday racing in them conditions, we don't have a pristine track, dude. Like I know for a fact when I raced pro-am, I was loving the pro-am days because Sunday, you get there, you get a couple practices in the morning, you qualify, and the track is beautiful.
Yep.
You're running lap times on Sunday, like Saturday, we're like, why were they running Saturday's times? Like the track was, but people don't realize that. You go on Sunday
Yeah.
and the track was absolutely beautiful. Like, and then you race that day. It's not as beat, which is awesome.
Hmm.
But Saturday, it's a challenging day overall. You got two qualifiers, you got two races, and all in one shot in a span. You got to race at one, race at what is it, 3:30 or 4, whatever it is. You got 2 hours to recover.
Yep.
Make sure your bike's ready, your mechanic getting on it. It's a
Hmm.
lot more than going to a local series and just doing a race, taking a break for two
Yeah.
hours, and get back out there. It's so
Um,
called a job. It's a job. It's literally a job.
it is. And, like we were kind of touching on, knowing your limits. I mean, that's not just for on the track, that's off the track. And, we're going to go back to Budds Creek. Budds Creek this last season was a great weekend of racing, but the weather, the humidity and the heat from that weekend was so intense. Now, I know you got hit, with some heat stroke, and I
Man.
forget who else it was. I want to say it was Strelly, I believe, right? Um,
Um, it was three or four of us that
yeah,
were
there were a
really,
couple of guys. And again, I mean, that goes to the same situation of knowing your limits.
yeah,
You guys knew
that,
you pushed
yeah,
further, on that track for that next moto, you were going to make some sort of mistake and you could potentially,
yeah,
or one of your other guys, you know what I mean? And you made the conscious decision, amongst your teams to set out that moto. And it's all in, knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, but knowing the
yeah.
limit as well. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, that day, that's where training in Florida and everything in Texas, all of that, that's where it comes in handy, dude. Like being
Mhm.
that cold and, I like the later rounds, like in Sunset when it's colder, because the hot guys like it. They don't like it. Like it's cold. I'm like,
Yep.
I'm loving it right now. Sunset was one of my best races. I'm like, I'm loving this
Uh,
Triple Crown. I'm like, it's nice and cool.
mhm.
Breathing's different. Everything's different, and that's what I'm used to.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
that day at Budds Creek, yeah, a couple of us. I mean, I was bad. I'd never experienced in all my life, a heat stroke, and
Hmm.
it was like one of the things where, like you said, we're like, like this can go really bad if you push it more. And
Hmm.
my family, um, my dad, like they make my own decision. Like, yo, like, what are you feeling? Like, we're here for you. I had my
Yeah.
girlfriend there, help me out, get me fuel back up, getting hydrated. Bryce Ford luckily let me hop in his ice bath. I didn't have one, but
Oh, okay.
I hopped in there. Thank God he let me hop in one of them because that helped me cool my body down and get me back to feeling normal before I felt like I had to get out of there, like fully off the
Yeah.
track and somewhere. But
It was a crazy
I
weekend for sure. And I mean,
dude, yeah,
I get that way too. I mean, a lot of people don't realize as a photographer or a videographer how much work goes into that just for us. I mean, I don't have a team of people. I'm just a one man band, as of right now.
yeah,
And, I'm out there just like you guys. And in most instances, I'm out there in the heat more than you guys because while you guys are taking a break between 12 motos,
yeah,
you're in your campers or your trailers or whatever, and you're, cooling off or whatever, hanging out,
yeah.
relaxing. I'm still out there in that 95-degree heat trying to make
And
sure I'm getting all the footage. So, I
I
mean,
know,
I've experienced my share of borderline heat stroke, and myself with, asthma, just compiles, even more. So it's
yeah,
the same thing, sometimes like that weekend. I didn't shoot any videos or any photos at all on Sunday because Saturday, between Friday and Saturday, I was whooped. It just
yeah.
physically drained me that much because the weather was so intense that weekend. So it's
I
the
know. I
same
give
thing,
all
knowing my limits.
I give all you guys credit out there, photographers out there, man. And I know I make sure when I see the track with my family, we make sure to get you some food and some drinks.
Yes, you
Always
do.
ask you. We bring you a plate and stuff. We know we
Hmm.
take care of you, Steve.
Yes, you do. Absolutely.
But
And that's the one thing, like, I touched on a little bit in the first episode, uh, the motocross community is just, it's something on a different level. It's not like a football team, it's not like a basketball team or baseball. Like those those are your brothers and stuff and your sisters, but
Yeah,
when it comes to motocross, it's a whole nother level. I mean, even I mean, I've watched you guys. I forget who was wrecked really good a year or two ago, and I forget who it was. It was a pro, and another one of you guys completely stopped. You didn't even keep going. You stopped to make sure they
yeah,
were all right because it was that bad. You don't get that really with other sports. I mean, you get that in maybe pro football if somebody gets hit really hard or something, or flipped
yeah, yeah. Of
and like
course.
that. But I mean, it's a level of competition, but love at the same time, even though you're enemies, so to speak. You know, once you're at the gate, it's go time. But if something happens, you guys are all right there to make sure everybody's okay. You're not enemies at that point if something happens. And then as soon as you're off the track, you guys are talking about the race, and what you did good or
Yeah,
bad, or even, I've heard you guys talking like, how the heck did you do this? Or how are you, making up the time there? Like, and you give each other advice, which is crazy. Again, you don't get that in other sports from your
yeah,
competition, and
hundred
that's
percent.
the part.
But that's how I feel too. A lot of us progress in this sport too, because if you're elevating and I'm elevating, we're both each getting better, and only helps
Hmm.
you get pushed to the next step. You
Yes.
know, I was luckily be able to train with Nick Janusa at Facility
Hmm.
15. He got me training with someone faster than you, and that really helps you and push each other. Not only is it helping me, but it's helping him as we're
Yeah,
training together.
for
And
sure.
a lot of us in the pro motocross, like we compete with each other in the off season. Like, you got Joel down at Deckers with Zach and a few other pros. You got other pros in different, Rastrellis training with each other, Brandon Hogue, all them
Yeah.
together.
Yep.
You know, we are all competitors when we line up on that gate, but off the track when we're getting better, we're also a unit, man.
Yeah.
Like as much as we want to beat each other on the line, off the track, we're it's a family, dude. Like it's awesome. Like I never forget there was, a moment at Briarcliff this year. One of my bikes broke and my race bike, and Bryce Ford offered me to ride one of his bikes, and that
Oh,
was
nice.
mind blowing. A competitor that's lining up on the gate, you know,
Yeah.
offers me to be able to compete and be able to, people like that. It's awesome to give back, and you never know who's watching you, dude, and taking every opportunity. And he wanted to see me on the track, which is awesome, dude. Even if I was racing
Yeah.
against him, he still wanted to see me out there doing what I love to do and give me an opportunity. Like stuff like that goes a long way in every sport.
Yeah.
Um, it's
Now,
just things like that, dude.
now speaking of Bryce Ford, we know Nick is retired now. We know Wesley is retired now. We know Jeff Rastrelli's retired now. Chad is retired now. 2026 is going to be one heck of a season to watch. What are your predictions? I, I know Bryce was gunning for Joel all season, and he was definitely giving him a run for his money. What do you think this next season's going to look like? Do you think Bryce might be able to take that away? What are you thinking?
He definitely has the work ethic to put into and the machine, and like I said, work ethic to be able to get to Joel. I
Yeah.
think he was the next Joel compared to all of us. Chad's Chad, man. But I'm saying the next
Yeah,
person,
for
Chad's
sure.
Chad. But the next person, Bryce ended second all year, I believe. Besides the end, he obviously the last race he had a crash before, whatever. But he was a dominant second place dude, whether he got a good start or not. Which is,
Yes.
you know, Joel is Joel, man. He is a dominant, every one of these guys like Bryce, Joel, and all them, Chad, they've been doing it since they were younger, dude. All the
Hmm.
way up and riding these tracks since they were on 50s.
Yeah.
And I just think, some people like Joel, man, he has another edge maybe it's mental. Maybe it's, not always the bike, man. He is one of dudes to look at when you ride, dude. And I look up to
Oh
him
yeah.
since the moment I started. And you know, it's I think Bryce this season he puts his head down. He could be if he gets a good start, man, and just it's just having that pressure of Joel, man. Also, the whole
Yeah.
moto. It's a long moto. It's not 4, 5, 6 laps. It's a long moto.
It is, and he doesn't stop. Like Joel's on a different level, and like I said,
Yeah.
back in pleasure. I mean, to see as my first time being at a national, already
Yes.
overwhelmed by the amount of spectators are there, the amount of riders that are there to race, and then to watch the top dog have a really a crappy start. I forget what happened, and go from last to first by the end of the race and have a gap as
Yeah.
he's on a different level, but watching
Yeah.
Bryce, he's like you said, dominated was a great descriptive word. He
Yeah.
dominated
He would.
in a good fashion to stay right there in second place. All but I think that one or two races, towards the end, it's just he's on another level. Like I've watched him level up, and he
Yeah.
honestly he's one of my favorite pros. Besides you,
Yeah.
of course, Tyler. But
Yeah.
the one the one memory for me that I'll never forget was actually Pleasure Valley. He was the only one of you pro guys that actually walked up to me to introduce himself to me and ask how I was doing. And that's gonna stick with me forever. You know what I mean? That
Yeah, man.
you know I'm a nobody at that point. I was just getting into the motocross, and that was my first national. He has never seen me. He just sees a guy with a camera wearing a vest, out there for the first time. He's just another person,
Yeah.
and that's what I like about
That's
all of you guys. But he sticks out a little bit just for that because he walked up to me and I was mind blown. I was like, holy crap! Like this pro
yeah.
guy introducing himself to me. I don't have to introduce myself to him, you know.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter whether you're on the track watching them or they're in the pits. I mean, you guys stop and you talk to everybody, whether it's a little kid that wants your autograph or wants a pair of goggles or a jersey,
Yeah.
to grown ass adults that have been
Speaking
watching.
speaking of speaking of that, what you said about like, kids wanting like goggles, signatures, stuff like that. It's cool when you people like little kids come up to you, like for example, like, hey, can I get your autograph? Or hey, you have a goggle or something. Something so little like that, like a kid wants from you, it makes their
Yeah.
day. And that's what's cool. Like I'll never forget I did my first qualifier after I was telling you I was all tensed up and my dad telling me after a couple laps, he's like, yo, just ride. I actually, dude, I just like, when I ride, I like to do tricks. And it's not like I'm purposely doing it. Dude, like, I
Dude,
legit just like, I like zone out, dude. I'm so used to just doing tricks whatever I do. So I'll never forget, I hit Ironman, the big jump in the middle, and I started doing no hander, no footers. And my
uh,
dad's like, I'm like, dude, you told me to flow. Like, this is what I would do, like, if I'm just
right?
practicing.
Yeah.
So after that qualifier, like I said, it was a rough one, and I just got through the second one. I did much better, got in there. But before I got back to my trailer, speaking of that, a little kid comes by. He was like, "Hey, can I have one of your jerseys?" He was at my trailer before I even got back to my quad for the
Oh,
qualifier.
geez. He
He
was
was like,
waiting.
that no hand or no footer was sick. And I was like, oh my God. I said, Mom, that just made my day. Like
Oh
I don't
yeah.
even care about racing no more right now. Like that's awesome. Like a little kid, I was out there for 10 minutes qualifying and a little kid wants my jersey. Like, like that's stuff like that is just like, you're doing something right, that people are watching. It's not always just about going fast. It's about what you're doing off the track and on the track.
Yes.
That's what makes the sport special.
For sure.
So
And the autograph sessions are great. I mean, and it's not just for little kids, grown adults.
yeah,
We want to interact with you guys and talk to you, get your autograph, you know what I mean? And shameless plug, my trading cards this season. I mean, you were the first
yeah,
pro to jump on board with that. And not only do we have our trading cards, but for several of you guys, we're designing some mini posters. I call it for you
Yeah.
guys, typically for your signing sessions. So, if somebody wants your autograph, you have an awesome little mini post that you can sign and hand, to everybody. You know what I mean? Like it's no different than the pro dirt bike guys. I mean, when I went to
Yeah.
Philadelphia Supercross last year, I flew my buddy up from Florida to surprise my son as a birthday gift, and I mean, I was just going nuts. Like we got there early, got to got autographs from Plessinger, and I got Deegan's.
Yeah.
I got him and Chase Sexton, Mookie. Like I was
Yeah.
starstruck. You know what I mean? But it's so cool that people on that level of being a pro and a celebrity, when it comes down to it,
Yeah.
that hangs out with poor little peasants, so to speak. Like
Nah,
us.
yeah.
At an event like that is just crazy, and you guys do the same thing, and it's what really makes these sports, you know, in my opinion, better than anything else.
Yeah.
With sports.
100%. Every one of us, I can say, dude, like it's not an easy route, dude. Getting to where a pro level, whether it's
Mhm.
dirt bike or motocross, dude. Like it comes down to, like I said, like working full time to be able to have a machine to line up to properly be out there. All the stuff you need, like to be able to, training, being at the gym, getting ride time important. It's it's a lot of people quit before they get to that next level, and it's cool to be able to get to that point in your life, whether, when I'm 50 or 40, like, hey, I raced motocross professionally for 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
and, it's all risk in everything you do, man. It's risk
For
in everything
sure.
you do. Do it before you get, before you get older and breaking bones. Like I've had surgeries, broken collarbone. Like
Oh yeah.
before that stuff doesn't heal as faster, and,
The older you get, the longer it takes, brother.
Ye yeah, and it's cool, man. This year, I mean, we lost a lot of dudes, which is sad to see. I'm really thankful I got to race with them before they retired because
Oh
they
yeah,
were
I bet.
in the sport long time, and seeing their riding styles helped me, seeing what they did, But hopefully this season, mixing up a lot of the pro-am guys hopefully come up from a couple of kids that are still in it from when I raced in pro-am
Mhm.
last year and 2 years ago. And it should be, hopefully, we get a couple guys in, man. It will be good battles. I mean, there's always, like dudes like Joel Bryce get ahead of us fast, Chad, all them, Brandon. And then we have our battles from, fifth all the way down to the back of the pack.
Yeah.
It's a great uh, it's a great turnout, man, and I'm
It is,
hoping, like,
and it is. It's a battle throughout the whole pack of you guys. It's not just first and second battling. It's literally
yeah,
whether there's a
it's
15-second gap between third and fourth or not. You guys literally battle the entire track, the entire moto, and
yeah,
I love it. And I mean, it's that way too. With the other series, as well, even D6 and the younger,
yeah,
but to watch the pros do it is just gives it that edge. Like, holy crap! Like these guys are really pushing it. For a seventh place. Where other riders are like, oh man, seventh. Like that's it. Like,
yeah,
but you guys are pushing yourself because like you want that consistency.
yeah, 11,
That
12, 13,
pace.
14 laps. It's
Yeah,
you're on your last leg at the end of that moto. I
yeah,
don't
sure.
know where for it was 20 not last year, year before when I raced pro sport at Daytona. When I ripped the whole shot, dude,
Uh-huh.
it was I want to say it was 2020, not last year, 2023.
It
I don't
was
know if you were
2023.
watching on
Yeah,
the live stream. Were you
yeah,
watching the live stream that day?
yeah.
So quick little run back on that. That's one of the coolest tracks. It's not always people say raceable, blah blah blah. Not every track's perfect. I get it. But walking into that stadium where the pros like dirt bikers, NASCAR, pitting in there, that
Uh-huh.
experience is something that not everyone in this world could be like, yo, I raced in the middle of Daytona International Speedway. Like
Yeah.
that is so dope. Like that is the coolest, you know? And I know my first year Daytona, I had the shit end of the luck. I was on the inside and I got bumped by 4 people and I went to a dirt pile and flipped in the beginning of my moto, if you remember my first year. And
Yeah.
Rip It Up got a clip of that, dude. It was my first ever race in there, and I'm like, dude. But I got back up and battled back up there. I
Yeah.
salvaged back up to like top 10. But then the year after that, dude, I was so determined to freaking win and get a whole. I wanted to get a whole shot and just lead the race, dude. Like I was
Yeah.
so determined. And well, long story short, dude, I get there and I start qualifying, and my dad and the pit board like, "Yo, no laps are going through." I'm like, I pull over, and we're doing like a minute and two, 59 seconds laps. So you got like 20 laps of qualifying. So I'm doing like 10 laps already. Excuse me. And my dad's like, yeah, no laps rushing. So by the time I could figure out why my transponder wasn't working, it only registered like 4 laps out of
Oh,
20 or whatever it was,
jeez.
17 laps. So I'm like, I'm all pissed, dude. I'm like, I just rode my ass off trying to get a good gate pick because it's a short gate to get up there, and you want to be on the inside to get a good advantage.
Yeah.
And the gate is like, it's not like if you watch, it's like to the left, but it's not like it's a straight up like almost 90-degree. So it's
Mm.
like the inside is favored.
Yeah.
So I was like, so then we went to qualifying. I ended up getting like 7th, and I only had like 4 laps. I didn't know if that was my good ones or my bad ones. And so, but there was 27 of us there. I was like, oh my God. I was like, that could have been bad. That could have been
Yeah.
really bad for me. So then they end up on the announcing my dad's video. He took video while I was qualifying. It said Bryce Ford too on my thing. I'm like, why are they calling me Bryce Ford 609 and my laps are not working? So I go all the way up to the stadium. I'm like, it was Harv up there and the people doing it. I'm like, they're calling me my wrong name, but my right number, and I only have 4 laps on the online right now. He's like, all right, we'll try to figure it out. And then, a couple hours go by, they come to my pit. Well, you only got 4 laps. I'm sorry. There's a heat race, and then go, make it through and you'll make it to your main. Whatever. Make it through.
Yeah.
So then the main comes up. And the vintage dirt bikes were there. So there was dirt bike ruts and stuff like that. And I ended up getting in 7th gate pick, and I was all the way in the middle by the dog box, and everyone took the inside. Everyone lined up 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So I was like, I'm getting as close as I can. And so I'll never forget, I'm sitting in the line. My dad's like, are you going out? I sat there, everyone rolled and did the sight lap. And my dad came up to me, he's like, are you going out? I said, no. I said, I'm going to rip this whole shot. I said, I'm staying right here. So they all rolled around, dude. I'll never forget this, man. It was one of my best moments. And they all came back. The car goes up, and dude, I got out that gate so fast. I don't even think I was watching the gate. I think I literally blacked out. I literally just heard the gate. Didn't even look. And in the video, I was like a bike ahead of everyone. And I jumped out, and I never forget out because it was straight. So I had to dart across diagonally quick. So the only way it was working if I got ahead of everyone by a bike. Because if I wasn't, I was getting jammed out. So then I jumped out, dude. I darted across. I was leading the whole 2 laps. And dirt bike ruts, I'll never forget, dude. Hitting the first couple faces. I was like, what-da-da-da, what-da-da. I was like, I didn't take the sight lap. I was just sending it, dude. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
all in. I started creating a gap. And then me and Joey are battling for first and second. Another pro rider I race with now. And he came on the outside of me, coming inside, cut me off and hit a braking bump, flipped in front of me. And as I tried to dodge him in the rut on the inside roller, he fell off and I almost hit him. I tried to jump off the cliff of the
Oh,
roller and it was like 8 foot, 10 foot down. I flipped off the quad. And then I tried to get back on my quad, fire back up, and my bike wasn't firing up right away. It was electric start. I'm like, what's going on? I'm not kicking it. And
No
I didn't bring my
control
kicker.
here.
I didn't bring my kicker there. And so then it fired back up, and then there was like about 16 more laps to go, and I ended up coming back to like 5th. And it was a great race. One of the best races I it was cool. Like I ripped the whole shot there at Daytona. Like who could say they did that, you know? And now that we're not
Mhm.
going back, it's like upsetting. It's like, my next one was try to get a whole shot in the pro class next, but
Yeah.
hey, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, this season's going to be pretty crazy. Uh, I know one guy that is moving up to the pros, Heath Hanna. I've watched him the last couple of years, and he's pretty damn good. So I'm looking forward to seeing him run this year. Another one was, I believe, Damian Hubert is supposed to
Yep.
be running pro. So that's going to be pretty dope. It's going to be pretty
I
cool. I know I'm going to go to the last four
Yeah, I see
rounds.
on your schedule. Yeah.
Yeah, the last four rounds, I'm going to be two of them are, part of our D6 series because I'll definitely be there at that. So that's Budds Creek and Pleasure Valley. And then I'm also going to be going, as of right now anyway, going to Baja Acres up in Michigan
Yeah,
and
new track.
in Ohio. So the last four rounds, the nationals, I got a full pack schedule. I just actually added three dirt bike races onto my schedule. So I think I have like 15 or 16 races, race weekends. Pretty much like
That's freaking awesome.
yeah. So it'll be
That's what
busy.
it's all about.
Yeah. And like I said, just, networking with you guys and, watching you guys progress. Somebody that I'm going to get on this podcast hopefully soon, Ethan Cornell. That kid is just insane. You weren't there, but at Sleepy, Ethan and also Liam Clark both sent I think it was their 90s on Bonsai and cleared it. And I missed it. I was editing photos and stuff,
Yeah.
and just all of a sudden, Ethan's like, I'm sending it, and just wham. And I was like, holy crap. And then come later on, I'm out there while, they're racing, and I'm standing at the bottom and here comes Ethan on his 250 now that he was riding and just sending it too on that. I was like, oh man, like these
Yeah.
little kids just have no fear. It's crazy. And then some of you, you pros, hit some of these jumps like they're nothing, but watching the younger kids, I mean, I couldn't believe they hit it with their 90s. Bonsai is
Yeah.
on that track. I don't even know what the gap is, from start to
Yeah,
finish.
no, it's
But
it's 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 a
mm,
big jump.
yeah,
Yeah, they're my boys, man. They're doing great. And I like seeing them progress, man. I always try to get down to all their gates, man.
yeah,
Get on
for
the line
sure.
with them, get them focused for the race. It's awesome. I love seeing them
Yeah,
kids grow.
absolutely. I've watched so many of them. I mean, even Liam Clark. He was one of the first bikes that my logo was put on for a season, and I watched him just grow exponentially. It's crazy, and watching him hit some of these jumps now this last season. He's starting to throw his quad, sideways. I got some good pictures of him whipping this season, and just see him
Yeah.
smile on his face when he gets done. And say, "Yo, did you see that? Did you see my whip?" And now I have to say, yes, I saw the whip.
Yeah.
And I
They're build
documented it now. There's photographical proof.
they're starting to build the confidence. That's what's great.
Mhm.
Great to see.
Yeah,
You
they're
know?
they're knowing their limits, but they're pushing it at the same time, which is really cool to see. I mean, even just watching, just the little beginner class, just
Yeah.
watch beginners and then stepping up slowly, and just watching them go faster and faster. It's something really cool to watch. I mean, even you from, a backyard series to now a pro in
Yeah.
just a couple years, watching you, you know what I mean? It's just crazy. I mean, yeah, I'm still starstruck. I'll say it. And you're a
Yeah.
good friend, you know what I mean? But you're a pro
Yeah.
now. Like you're a whole nother level, you know?
It just keeps getting harder.
Yeah, for sure.
you know?
And it takes a team. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you said earlier. It's not just you. It's
Yeah, no.
your trainer. Your support system, like your family, your
Yeah.
significant others. Even your kids.
All of it.
You have kids, like, there's a lot that plays into being a racer. You
Yeah,
see it with the pro dirt bike guys all the time. Ken Roxon with his kid, and all those guys. On podiums sometimes with kids. Like that's it's a whole support system. It's not just the team of working on a bike and racing a
yeah.
bike. It's
It's a s- it's a
everything.
it's a sacrifice every time we go out there, man. It is. It's a
Yeah,
sacrifice every time we go out there and do what we do and perform and do what we love. And that's anything you do in life, you know?
yeah, yeah, for
So,
sure, for sure.
you said live fast, you know?
Life is fast. Why ride
Life
slow?
is fast. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that. That's a great slogan. I like
yeah.
that.
It works. I didn't come up with it. I had a contest for that, and when I saw it,
Hey,
I knew that it was it. I knew that's what I needed as my my race slogan for sure. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's been a long way, just like you guys, coming up, and starting small. I mean, the same goes for me. I was
yeah,
a nobody, a few years ago, and I mean, I have other people in other series that are like, oh, yo, your UFP
yeah.
race photos, and I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Start
Like,
to
I don't
grow.
know why, but what's going on? You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a
That's
different level, but it's still same thing makes me feel good. It's kind of like when I before I sold my motorcycle, it was loud and obnoxious and just really cool, and pull up to next to a school bus or something, little kids,
yeah,
get all excited, just like they do with you guys
yeah,
getting goggles. I mean,
yeah.
Supercross. My first Supercross, 2 years ago and I almost caught who was it? Tom Vial's goggles. I just missed his goggles. I was so disappointed.
Oh,
I was like, oh my God, like that would have been so awesome. I was literally just a couple people away. You know what I mean? So, hey, maybe
right.
this I'll get something, I'll be there, again in Philly, enjoying it. Track looks really cool. And, we'll see who comes out on top on that race. I mean, that's a whole nother podcast in itself, talking about those guys. You know what I mean? Danger Boy and
Deegan, bro. Deegan's
and
coming.
everybody's switching. You know what I mean? Like, I,
Yeah.
I can't lie. I'm a Deegan fan. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Haters gonna hate. But the kids,
Kids eating, man. Kids eating.
he's got skills. I mean,
Yeah.
it's at the end of the day, it's like we were talking about Joel. It's a mental thing and a physical skill thing, and
Yeah.
Danger Boy's got it. He's got to dial it
Yeah.
in, though. He's got to pull it back a little with certain things. But again, he's
Yeah.
young. But I mean, I the that 450 class, it's changing up a lot, between Sexton and Anderson and Eli, all those guys changing teams this season.
Yeah.
Eli was really flowing, on his KTM for sure. But I mean, you got Anderson that just won on his Suzuki.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, down in
Yeah,
I think
it's
Australia.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, man. It's gonna be a season to watch for sure. I mean, I think it's 26 days. I think now until the first gate drop for Supercross. So I'm excited. I love it. You know what I mean? And it's fun to watch just as much as it is to watch you guys. So it's gonna be a good season, not just for quads, but for those dirt bikes as well this year. It's gonna be a fun season for both sides of that motocross spectrum.
Yeah. I'm
To
stoked.
watch 'em. Yep.
Upset they won't be in Daytona this year to watch him and be able to race, but it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's like you said, it is what it is. I think we're starting off at Deckers this year. I think
yeah,
that
great facility.
added to the schedule. I really wish I could make it to all these races, but I mean, like you, working a full-time job, I got my kid full-time, doing this,
Yeah.
I'm committed to my D6 series, it's a
We
lot
definitely make
for
the most
sure.
of it, dude. For sure, both
Yeah.
of us. We make the most of everything.
Exactly. And you just keep pushing and pushing, and you know what? If you don't push yourself, you're not going to succeed. And that goes for everything, whether it's, your business,
Just in
relationship,
life in general.
school,
Yeah.
everything. You know, life is fast. It doesn't matter
The
what
grind don't stop, brother. You know that.
Nope, it does not. But on that note, I'm gonna let you go, Tyler. I know
Yes,
you got a
sir.
lot of stuff to do. Not much longer, and our season's gonna be opening. So this is Steve, and this is Life is Fast podcast.